Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Saturday morning. It is Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas Eve to you all. I got you an update on what's going to happen for your Christmas Eve, whatever you got going on. If you got to travel to your parents' house, your grandma's house, whatever you got going on, we're going to try to give you an update on what's specifically going on in the weather world for today. It's going to be very cold, very frigid for a lot of areas, not quite as cold as yesterday. But it's still going to be very cold. Officially at my house, I think we got down to about 12 degrees, 12 or 11 degrees. So that's the coldest personally I've been here in my neck of the woods here in Lexington, South Carolina since I believe January 2nd, 2018 when we had that Arctic blast then. And then the next day we had that crazy snowstorm that hit the coastal regions of the Carolinas and Georgia. But it's very cold out there, very cold. So we're going to give you an update. We're going to break down each individual region in the central and eastern U.S., and try to figure this out. And then tonight, we'll try to discuss, if I can get a video in tonight, I might not. We'll discuss a strong clipper that's going to bring some additional snow for some folks, but not a big weather maker. But we'll talk about that. And then after that, guys, we kind of switch away from a winter-like pattern. It's going to warm up, and we're going to unthaw a little bit. So we'll go on and switch the tune to certain other things in the weather world, and we'll try to figure out what's going on as we round off 2022 and head into January of 2023, our new year. But if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. And I appreciate the amazing support, positive, neutral, negative comments, any of it. I really appreciate the amazing growth and the support over the last really month, the last 3 weeks. With it seems like we kind of were talking about this. It looked like something was going to happen, then something finally did. So I appreciate the growth, everybody following along as we did this, and it's really been a successful month of December so far. It's not over for my channel, so thank you all for that. I really appreciate it. If you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, put those in the comments below so I can pray over it, and I promise you others will too. So let's get rolling. Real-time temperatures. Let's try to update this really quick. And here we go. Temperatures right now in the central U.S. Waking up not as bad in Dallas this morning, but it's still very cold. Single digits in the central plains, and you're still well below zero in the northern plains. In the Mississippi Valley, the Quad States regions, low teens to single digits, and the Ohio Valley still locked into Arctic-like temperatures, waking up to the single digits. But a lot of these areas where the Arctic air mass really hit the hardest, your temperatures didn't really budge much overnight. If anything, they might have rose. It's an air mass that when the worst of it's over you, that's as cold as it's going to be. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is, if that makes any sense. But, we switch it over to the eastern U.S. and what's going on this morning. It's saying 14 degrees at Columbia, 8 degrees at the Charlotte airport, single digits in and around the Atlanta area. And the more you kind of work a little bit further west, you kind of get out of the core of the air mass as it swung through about a day and a half ago, but it's still very cold. In Little Rock, Memphis, 10 to 12 degrees. Raleigh flirting with the single digits. If you're not in single digits this morning, and along the I-95 corridor, it is a very, very cold Christmas Eve morning for sure. And Buffalo getting blasted this morning by continuous snow, blizzard-like conditions, in the single digits, maybe below zero in certain areas. It's actually warmer in Michigan, the UP of Michigan, but you're seeing a lot of snow. It's warmer up here than it is for areas in the south, and that's just because literally a piece of the polar vortex actually swung through the Ohio Valley. And no lie, it's literally got detached, dislodged, and that's how we got this Arctic cold air. Florida very cold this morning, very, very cold, and Florida will switch it to the southeast. And, you're in the 40s in Miami, which we expected. Below freezing as far south as Tampa and Orlando. And 30s all the way down to the Everglades. So very, very cold morning for you folks. Let's break it down to southeast. Weather-wise today, you might be waking up to a surprise in areas of eastern Kentucky, northeast Tennessee, where there's been a dusting of snow from northwest flow that you've seen in this area. You can't really see much of it on radar, and you certainly can't see it on the HRRR model. But if you actually look here out the radar out of Knoxville, Tennessee, you see these light returns right here. That is flurries flying around these areas, and it is so cold that these flurries can add up. Certain areas probably getting a dusting. It's probably accumulating on the roadways. So, you might be getting enough snow in these areas that if you didn't get snow from the system that swung through, it's probably a very festive look outside. It's very cold, but very festive, that's for sure, with flakes flying around for sure. So I hope you guys are enjoying it, making the most of it, because, you don't get this often. You did get kind of a white Christmas Eve. and Christmas about 2 years ago, but you don't see this very often. So take advantage of it, even if it's a nuisance. And try to enjoy it because, I mean, it's Christmas, guys. I mean, snow on Christmas, it's a rarity. Here in Columbia, it is just bone dry and clear, beautiful skies and not a flake. I call them McFlurries. Not a McFlurry anywhere in sight. The ice cream machine at McDonald's is certainly down around my neck of the woods like it normally is. But moving forward here, not much going on. Maybe some lingering. There's a lot of northwest flow action going on, the higher elevations of the mountains that you can't really see on radar, but it's happening. Arctic air mass just squeezes out as much moisture as possible. But throughout the rest of the day in the southeast, nothing. No precipitation. If there was precipitation, it would probably be winter weather. But nothing, very, very cold. Temperatures today, these are high temperatures, not low temperatures. Still locked below freezing. Atlanta, you're still going to be below freezing today. Columbia to Charlotte more than likely will not hit above the freezing mark. So it is going to be bitterly cold, not quite as cold for a lot of folks as yesterday, especially the further west you work. But, a lot of areas of Tennessee did not get out the single digits. You warm up a little bit, but it's not going to really be a warm up. But still very cold. Even areas that do get above freezing. Look at Look at Florida. Highs in Miami only in the 50s, more than likely. And then, most of the state of Florida is just very, very cold. You move up to the northeast, weather will be a little bit more active today. Let me know if you're seeing any flurries or snow showers in the Cape Cod or southern New England area. But these lake effect snow bands will continue to fire off Lake Erie, Ontario, blizzard conditions when you are inside of these bands. If you're outside of these bands, probably some passing clouds and the sun's peeking out. That's how dynamic and just how isolated these bands are. But I hope you are where you have to be for today and for tomorrow for these areas along the lake effect snow belts, because you're not going to be able to move much today. But strong winds with these, it'll still be breezy across the northeast, but this is getting into tomorrow at this point. Temperatures today for highs, very, very cold. Basically the coldest air mass will be in the northeast today, where areas will struggle to get above the sub-zero mark, single digits for most people. It'll just be your classic freezing Hallmark type movie scene out here. Just snow globe, very cold. The only areas that are just kind of getting jipped with the snow is the I-95 corridor, where it'll just be bitterly, bitterly cold. But so just, the wind chills will be much colder than this. So just be prepared with this. Snowfall totals along the Great Lakes, the Lake Erie and Ontario. Between now and the next 24 hours, areas of Buffalo could see 2 feet of snow, guys. And it's snowing at very, very cold temperatures. It's not snow falling in the 30s or upper 20s. It is just very, very cold and uncomfortable. Way up here in the northeast shores of Lake Ontario, a lot of snow. The wind direction is kind of flowing from more so kind of the southwest and northeast a little bit, so you're not kind of getting blasted too as much in these areas. But the lake effect snow bands will pivot back and forth, and you're getting a lot of snow. You look at a zoned in area, Buffalo. Buffalo right here, almost 2 feet of snow will have a chance to fall. This is the National Weather Service too, so these are the experts predicting the snow. The northeast today, very quiet, just cold. Same thing as yesterday. Not anything really to speak on. Nothing. Overnight, very, very cold and no precipitation. If it was precipitation, like I said, it would probably be wintry precipitation. Texas beginning to thaw out for high temperatures. Most of Texas today will get above freezing. So, if you got any little bit of snow in areas of northern Texas, it'll finally melt. Louisiana's starting to thaw out, but still very, very cold and well below average still. But you're still locked in below freezing in these areas up here. Missouri still well below freezing, and most of Arkansas, most of Mississippi, as the core of the cold air mass begins to shift more east and already has. Up here in the north central U.S., lake effect snow bands will continue to fire off Lake Superior, Lake Michigan all day today. A lot of snow will fall. It'll be very festive, but just be careful. I know you folks can handle it up here, but it's going to be very cold, so some of these lake effect snow bands will be quite intense, but you know about this kind of stuff up here. But one thing you see coming up on this side of the screen is this area of snow. This is our clipper beginning to come into the picture. We'll talk about that here in a second. But the snowfall today for the upper Midwest, several inches are possible here along the eastern shores of Lake Michigan, western Michigan, and over a foot of snow is possible. And some of these heavier bands in the UP of Michigan will You already got a ton of snow on the ground. Some of these bands can, drift all the way into Detroit where y'all could get a dusting to maybe an inch of snow. I'd be willing to bet that most of Michigan today sees at least some flakes flying around, kind of like yesterday. But temperatures today, very cold still. I mean, you got like a clipper that's beginning to come in and then, to kind of maybe reinforce the cold temperatures in the Dakotas. But single-digit temperatures, sub-zero high temperatures today. It's just very cold. Pick your state, pick your poison, and that it's very, very cold still. But we're talking about this clipper as we are getting into Christmas morning. It's snow's flying around in the eastern Dakotas. As we're getting to about midday, you get some festive flakes flying around in western Minnesota. Some snow will be flying around in Minneapolis as we're getting into our Christmas night. So, be able to look out the window as we round off Christmas Day, and there'll be some flakes flying around to kind of end the Christmas season, if you will. And then this will begin to move into Iowa, where you'll have some flakes flying around, and, it'll be so cold that this is going to probably accumulate on everything. And then, we only can go 48 hours out, but, as we're getting into about midnight, some snow's moving into Illinois. It's moving into St. Louis, maybe some freezing rain, maybe in Kansas City, as they're a little bit closer to just kind of more warm air aloft. But, St. Louis could see some snow. You might wake up to not much on the ground in St. Louis, depending on how much you got from the first system. And you might wake up to a nice couple inches of snow in St. Louis as you're waking up the morning of the 26th. But it stops right here, and all we can do is look at the GFS and kind of shows a similar idea. This continues. And then as we're getting into the morning of the 26th, I think we're going to have at least snow showers flying around the Ohio Valley. Again, this could make it as far south as Tennessee and Kentucky. And we'll see what this does. Can some flurries make it into the afternoon hours of northern Mississippi, maybe Virginia? Maybe some flurries make it all the way to the upstate of South Carolina, North Georgia as we're getting into the evening, the overnight hours of the 26th or 27th. We'll see. But this was that system we were hoping that was going to push a little bit further west and deliver maybe a last shot of winter weather before the pattern change. But it just doesn't look like this is going to happen now. But we're about to get in full range of these short-range models, so we'll get to see if these flurries can make it as far southeast as maybe the Carolinas or Georgia. But I think Kentucky and parts of Tennessee is almost a sure bet to at least see some light snow flying around as we're getting into the area after Christmas. We'll talk about this a little bit more here in the next couple of videos, but this shows the kind of the area of light snow. It's not a lot. Minneapolis might pick up a couple inches of snow Christmas night into overnight. And then it's showing a couple inches of snow for areas of Illinois, just depending on where you are, maybe a half an inch to 2 inches. Not going to be a big event. It's just a clipper. Normally clippers don't bring a ton of snow. And, this could bring accumulating snow for areas of Kentucky, maybe a dusting in areas of Tennessee. And the Ohio Valley could certainly just see some snow flying around. It's not going to be a big deal. It really isn't. But we'll see what happens with this. I think at most somebody might pick up 3 inches of snow. But we'll have to see where the axis of heaviest snow sets up. I think this clipper will be the strongest up here. But as it gets down here, it might lose a little bit of steam. But we'll see what happens, guys. But we'll give you an update on this. Regardless, this isn't going to be a big deal. But the bigger deal is some flurries and some snow can make it as far south as Tennessee again. So the rich get richer here. Had to throw that in there. I try to keep my emotions out of weather, but I am a little bit jealous of the people who saw some snow around the holidays. It's always, which we're kind of used to it here in South Carolina. We always are on the outside kind of looking in. But it is what it is. That's, this is where we live, and we don't see much snow here in the armpit of hell, Columbia, South Carolina. But that's all I got, guys. Y'all have some awesome times today. Make some memories, spending time with your family and friends. I hope you guys stay warm. I appreciate y'all very much, and we'll try to slide in a video tonight. But talk to you soon. God bless.